Okay, it's the day after it's time for action, where I went over the action pyramid and I did my homework, kind of. The fun thing about, for me, journaling is self-discovery. And I got to a point where I was like, oh, there's something here that I want to be with for a minute. It was not a new realization, but interesting, very interesting. So, some of what I'm going to say, or maybe even a lot of what I'm going to say, is going to be a bit of a repeat of what I talked about yesterday in the last recording about the pyramid, but maybe with some new words to it. So, if you didn't listen to that or watch that, you can check it out. So we're creating an action pyramid, and I meant to go back and listen to the video when Kim and I were talking about this for our Live in Your Vision class, where she's talking about the pyramid. But essentially, if you stack your period, if you stack your pyramid, um, in just such a way, whatever you have at the top is so supported, there is no choice but for it to come to fruition. It has all of this power underneath it. And so at the top of the pyramid, again, is vision or intention. And I'm just going to talk about it again. So if you don't have a vision or intention, you're going to start at the bottom of the pyramid. If you do have a vision or intention, you're going to write that at the top. Now, I do, and if you've been following along, you know it has shifted and changed throughout this whole journey. And so what I returned to is like a very clear vision that I've had for probably 2 solid years. It has remained nearly the same. And that's a pretty good indicator to me that that's something that I really want. I have the energy for, would love to create it. It's not a huge vision for the future. It's something that would be amazing in the next couple of years. And I really see it happening in the next couple of years. It doesn't even feel like a maybe. And it's part of my, when I moved here to Fort Collins, which I just got here in January, it's now May, actually just exactly 4 months ago on the 7th. That is part of my intention is to get that going. I did think I was going to get it going, and I'll tell you the vision, don't worry. I did think I was going to get it going like right away. And then I'm like, no, there's actually all this stuff that I'm working through and undoing. And, there's a lot. So the vision is, let me just read what I wrote here. Use the material in my book and in my journal. And again, I'm going to revise this, but you can play along in Telegram for free. Link in the description. Embodied Law of Attraction Journal. This is the fourth edition. This action pyramid will be an addition to the fifth edition when I revise it again. And I'm also going to put like a better cover on it. But I've been revising it as I've been going, so it's been nice. So I'm not going to just sit down and like churn it all out and then get impatient at the end and just be like, print it. I don't care what the cover looks like. I'm going to be more mindful with that the next time it gets printed. So use the material in my book and in my journal to teach live classes. I've already talked about this. I'm open to online and I'm open to in person, and I try to make myself decide. And I'm like, I actually would like both. I think it would be super cool to do because I like the once every other week rhythm. So it'd be super cool to do a track that is in person, yeah. That's every other week, and then the alternating weeks do a track that's online. They just offer different possibilities. I do love teaching in person. I love getting into like the embodied stuff really deeply. That's really cool. And I like the ease and access of online. Sometimes I don't want to leave my house, and neither do the people that I'm working with. So I think that would be cool. It is a 5-step process, so it'd be about a 10-week thing for each person, but it would be rolling, so they could come in at any point and do all 5 classes. They could also just drop into one if they wanted to. But I've had that picture, like I said, for about 2 years. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And then I'm committed to this location for about another year. And I think that's a very reasonable amount of time to get this going. And I could start very simply and very easily. So I'm going to do something that I didn't intend to do. So the thing that I didn't intend to do, which I also didn't do before I started recording, so I just did it now, is so right below vision in the pyramid, these are the actions you want to take. When I was talking about it yesterday, I was saying if you have a vision, put it here, and then you can come down here. You can really do this in whatever order you want. And just know that as you do it, you're going to be refining it. And also, it's a live document. You are not, this is not just set in stone. This is like, because this is your action pyramid, as you take action, you're going to find the things that continue to support your vision or continue to support the way that you want to feel. So they're going to change. Things are going to change and shift and move around. So, my vision. The action steps. So before recording, when I was doing this, this is the place I got stopped, and I'll come back to that thing at the end, where I was like, oh shit, I should pay attention to this. Just now, I had some action steps come to me that are just very practical. So I'm going to go into them now. I've already talked about pitching myself on podcasts. So there is trying to get myself mentioned on podcasts. And I feel like that's a different thing, like not necessarily that I'd come on and talk to the people, but like I could send them my book or whatever, gift people my stuff. And whoever reads it, if they're interested, they could contact me. And then there's pitching on podcasts. So one of the action steps for that, a sub step, would be researching pods that have enough crossover with me that it would make sense. So I'm adding that to my action step. Contact studios. So because I want to be in person and have an in-person track, contact studios, and I would say also go to studios, like attend studios. And I'm thinking yoga studios, things like that. Any place where they would have ecstatic dance. Um, think these are just like details, but they're things that when I step away from my journal, I'm like just living life and I'm not thinking about. So I mean, we're talking action. So you're giving yourself some assignments here. So attend studios and then, I mean, see if I like the spaces. And if I do, then I could contact them about teaching there. There's already a studio that I've attended before that has agreed to let me teach there. So part of that would be I need to come up with a description of the entire 5-step thing, which I have done, but like what would be the description now? And then a description for each individual part of it. So if people wanted to come to just one, how would I describe it and what would they be doing? So again, these are detailed things, but they're things that I want to remember and they're things I want to start putting energy into because if I mean this and I really want this, these are parts of the equation, right? Yes, they are. All right. Go on Meetup, go on Eventbrite and I've done that before where I've like put my event out there and then nothing happened and then I stopped doing that. So instead of that, keep posting, start gathering people. I could start going to other people's events or meetups. One, to meet people, two, to see kind of how they have it formatted or whatever. Three, just to like get myself in that energy stream. So part of it is connecting. So I can make that even broader and just say connect with people with similar, I don't know, intention or they have, I mean, to, buy into this, you have to be a little esoteric. Similar vibe. Let's just say similar vibe. People that would use the word vibe. And then I already said create descriptions for the classes, et cetera, et cetera. So those were action steps that just popped in my head and I want to get them down. So if I'm ever like, man, I sure wish I were teaching my blah, 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 blah. So sad. I wonder why I'm not. Hey, guess what? Have you done these things? And I love that these are a variety of like simple to a little more complex. So it would be really easy to like shoot off an email. If I want to do a little bit more, stretch myself a little further, I could go to a studio and take a class. I can also go on to Peerspace, peerspace.com and check out some of the spaces that are available in my area. And I could also, I mean, I'm an hour from a few different towns, so I could also check out places that are a little beyond where I am. Okay, so those are some action steps. Now, at the bottom, these are your resources and support. So these are the things that already, right now, in time, support you and give you resource. They already support you. They already give you resource. Now, I wrote a little note on the back. When you're writing what supports you, be real. If smoking cigarettes, watching television, or eating ice cream support you, write those things down. Be honest about that. A big clue is if you do it on repeat, if there's something that you keep doing on repeat, it supports you. Even if you say to yourself, I shouldn't be doing this, if you keep doing it, that means it's supporting you somehow. Write it down. The things that live in the dark, the things that continue to live in the dark, are going to have the most power over you. So if smoking cigarettes supports you, but you wish you weren't smoking cigarettes, if you can just honor the fact that smoking cigarettes supports you, it's going to have less and less and less power over you. I promise. And especially if you write it down on your action pyramid and you're saying to yourself, I'm going to smoke cigarettes because they support me. And then you go, really? Like it puts it in a different frame. It's not the same as like being ashamed of it and hiding it. It's like, does that support me? Like you actually, start questioning your own reality a little bit. And then again, it starts to have less power over you. So be real, be truthful. Nobody else has to look at this except me if you want to send it to me. I would love to admire your beautiful pyramid. And if you're writing it down and you think this shouldn't be helping me, if it is helping you right now, it is helping you right now. I've said it three different times or three different ways. So I think you get it. And again, if you're doing it on repeat, it is definitely helping you in some way. Write it down. My bottom rung of my pyramid, my bottom row. So these are the things that resource and support me at this time that I'm already doing. Again, some of these are repeat from yesterday. Red light therapy, vibration plate therapy, watching TV, wearing sweatpants, uh, Brushing my teeth and using my water flosser. Love that. Walking Dina, my wonderful dog. Hiking, also a Dina. But hiking supports me in a different way. It's like gets my breath moving, blood pumping, looking at trees, and really just looking at beauty. I'm going to write this down. Looking at beauty. I'm a Taurus. I'm ruled by Venus. So like beauty is, and then also looking at like clean open spaces, which can be indoors as well. Write that down. Open spaces. So mountains, trees, snow, flat fields, not so much. But like rolling hills, water, bodies of water, a clean counter. If there's something that I'm good at accumulating clutter, I will admit that. So if I've had a little spot that's been cluttered for a little bit and then I clean it up after a couple days, oh, cleaning clutter. Those things are very supportive to me. Matcha enema. So I started doing this a couple weeks ago. I think I've only done four, so it's not like I'm doing them every day, but I feel so oh, just relaxed and energized. And I keep having this thought about this thing, so I'm just going to share it, which is there was a class that I took and then taught called Energetic Nutrition back in the day when I was at Hogwarts. And we did talk about food. I would say we talked about food a lot more in the classes that I took because I took it a few times. And then when I taught it, I co-taught it with a friend of mine. It was one of my favorite teaching experiences. I love teaching, but it was just an incredible co-creation with my friend, the other teacher, and then our students as well. Like it was just so beautiful. But what it really became about, we did talk about food, but it really became about life. And the point of the class is what nutrient is going to serve you right now. And it's going to change moment to moment. And you have heard me say, I am like everything is a hologram. Like we're all prisms, like light is just shining through us. And what's within is without, and what's, down is up is down. And our cells have a semi-permeable membrane that decides what gets to come in the cell depending on the moment. How hydrated is it? What nutrients does it have? What nutrients does it need? How much hydration does it need? And that is how we are as an entire being. So if you've heard me talk about, I am not for rules. I do not like rules because rules are static and they create stagnancy. Like, does this rule make sense right now? Does this nutrient make sense right now? And the teacher that I originally took the class from, maybe 4 or 5 times, he had a master's degree in nutrition, like classic medical, not medical, but classic Western nutrition. And then he would stay updated, and then he was an energy practitioner and all that stuff. And so he had run the gamut for trying different things and trying different, he was a vegetarian very naturally, just did not like meat. But besides that, he would try all variety of things. And one of the times he taught it, he was talking about he had just gone through this raw food diet and he loves it. Like he loves feeling the lightness of it. He loves the fasting. He would do some water fasts in there and just delightful, super etheric and da 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 da. And he's like, and I love feeling like that so much that I keep wanting to do that, which a lot of people would say is health. That just is how you be healthy. And so we did muscle testing. That was the primary way that we kind of like checked all this stuff. And it was over a 3 day intensive weekend. So it was 24 total hours, 8 hours a day for 3 days. And so we were like muscle testing all these things. We would muscle test supplements and we would muscle test even like a picture of a cell, and we would muscle test like what part of the cell needed support. And then we would muscle test like what kind of support did it need, what part of the digestive tract needed support. We had a digestive protocol that we would do that I still love. It's like getting the sphincters in order and all this stuff. So when he muscle tested himself in that class as a demonstration, the muscle testing came back that he needed more, we called it tamasic, but that you don't have to know what that word means. But like denser food. He needed more cooked food. He needed denser food. Like that's what his body needed at that time. And that changes again, moment to moment. It's not that well, I mean, ideally, in any given moment, we could just have a sense of what's true for us and we could have a sense for what we need. And then we could just, get that thing, whatever that is. And then we could have a sense for when something is played out a bit and we don't need it anymore. So that would be like ideal land, but that's not where most of us are living most of the time. Most of us are kind of in I've been doing this forever, so I'm going to keep doing it, or I was told this was bad, so I'm never going to do it, except again when things have power over you because they're secret and you're ashamed of them, and I'm going to do it in those moments. Um, or I was told this was good for me, so I'm just going to do this forever and ever and ever. This is why there are people that thrive doing carnivore. There are people that thrive doing raw vegan. There are people who thrive in fasting. There are people who thrive in eating 3 meals a day. Like we are all different. We all respond differently in each moment, in each season, in each time in our lives, in each time in our bodies. Like we respond differently moment to moment to moment. So to just steadfastly say, well, this is it. This is what works for me is just not really even true. Now, I have lost where I am in this. So let me let me come back. Walking Dina, hiking, looking at beauty, matcha enema. So I think that's where I was. I don't know what I was where I was going with that, but I will say about the matcha enema. What I keep experiencing, which is really interesting, is I've had a few times since being in Colorado, and I've been in the state for almost a year. It's been close to a year, just 10 months. And there are different plants here from where I'm from. So sometimes I've had like some sinus stuff, and I've thought, oh, I should get a neti pot. Like I've done that before, and I just haven't. But in the few times that I've done the enema, what happens is my my other hand is like at my anus. My nose feels like I just did a neti pot. And that's something else from Hogwarts, like in polarity therapy, like these places are connected. Like your sinuses and mouth are connected to your bottom of your torso, your anus and your whatever genitals you have. Um, so like cleaning out that end is clearing out this end, which is incredible. I mean, hell yeah, you know. I'll probably go back and listen and be like, that's what I was gonna say. But for now, I don't remember. So, matcha enema, creating these videos feeds me. This gives me an outlet for the stuff I want to say. And I am just really loving the process of doing this myself. It's so fun. Like I'm really just enjoying it. And I'm also enjoying like catching my places of resistance and catching my places of um avoidance. Like that's probably going to come next is one of the first things I have in here is an avoidance list. And I feel it. I feel it coming in. Coffee, occasional alcoholic beverages, my loungy couch, making candles. I started making candles since living here. just as like a creative outlet. And I've been giving them away because I don't need a bunch of candles. But I'm just enjoying the process. They're very imperfect. I scent them with essential oils and buy the stuff myself, mail them off my own dime to people that I know and love. And it's just a fun little adventure and just gives me like there's no other reason for doing this except to do it. It's just, I don't even know if it's joyful, but it's just lovely. Working my job supports me. And I get irritated sometimes, like we all do in jobs or just being in the world. Um, but I mean, I've spoken to this, I have steady income. I really enjoy the team I work on. And yeah, it really is supportive to me. And I work 4 10s, so I have 3 days off a week, which for right now is excellent. I love having I actually learned that was one of my biggest lessons during COVID when I had 5 months off, where I was like, I do not thrive if I don't have any structure. Like, I love a day that I can just let unfold naturally. Like, today is one of my days off. And I woke up and I did the Dina thing, and I came home and I did the enema thing, and then I did my vibrating plate thing, and I did this and I made an appointment that I decided to cancel. So I was like, no, I don't know that I'm going to be ready at that time. I have other stuff I'm doing. Going to take Dina for a hike in a little bit. And, I love that. But if I have that all the time, I am not very, I don't want to say productive, but I'm destructive. I would say I'm destructive. Okay, my job, snuggling my dog, eating sea moss. So I have a friend in Boulder and she makes sea moss gel and I very much love it. And I actually just she gave me just some raw sea moss and water that was hydrated and I just blended my first jar of it this morning, put it in the fridge. Cleaning clutter. So I wrote that down while I was talking to you, but it really does support me. And again, this is a live document, so I'm going to, when I notice something supportive, I'm going to add to it. And what's going to happen over time, I'm not going to push myself into this hole today, but what's going to happen over time is these things are going to become more and more clear. Are they supporting my vision? So right now it's just what supports me, period. And then it's going to be what is most supportive to my vision. And I was thinking in terms of percentages. I don't really I would be making up a percentage, but I'm okay to make up a percentage. Like people like the 80/20 rule. I would say, if you like the 80/20 rule, that 80% of your time, if you're gonna, commit to this action pyramid, at least 80, I would say 90% of your time and energy and money should go into things that are on this. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we'll see at the end of this recording, but I'm probably going to challenge myself to do just that. Um, but let's keep going. Okay, so that's the bottom. What resources and supports you right now already that you're already doing? These are not things you have to get yourself to do. The next rung up, feel. How do you want to feel? Now, this can be in general. Better is if you do have that intention or vision at the top. How do you want to feel in terms of that vision or intention? A lot of this I went over yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. Prosperous and generous. I love when my cup floweth over. I love making candles and mailing them to people on my own dime. I love that. I have a friend who I've had a vision for years when I used to do alcohol massage therapy, and the company I worked for had all these contacts with inns and hotels and whatever in the like Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And there was one particular inn called the Bespoke Inn where it was just like this little building kind of in the middle of nothing, but very close to all the Scottsdale shit that people love to do. But the penthouse suite, I looked it up. I think in their busy time, it was probably 1,200 a night. And then in their off season, it was like 600 a night, something like that. But it was this beautiful room. It was a one bedroom. There was like a lovely couch, books on the bookshelves, just like really lovely. I don't want to say stunning, but it definitely gave me a very specific feeling. And I was like, I would love to gift my friend Jennifer like 2 nights in this room, in this beautiful penthouse room where, and I could, throw my card down. There was a restaurant downstairs, so she could eat there if she didn't ever want to leave. But like one of her visions is to just in complete quiet, non-chaos, no appointments, nothing that she needs to do, just like sit and read without distraction, in peace and serenity. And that would be so fun to gift her. I have not yet gotten to the point where gifting a few $1,000s makes sense or feels like my cup overfloweth. That would feel like my cup draineth, right? But I still plan to do that. Like that hasn't, it's not off the board. I still plan to do that. But that's like natural to me. Yeah, I love that feeling and I love getting to act on that feeling. So prosperous and generous, supported, like I have help. And I actually, just to honor my um, birds and twigs, or I mean, even really just a manifestation, but one of my friends offered right before I came on to record to help me do my my action steps. Specifically like pitching me on podcasts and things like that. So I already am feeling this is where the gratitude and the celebration comes in. Like I'm already feeling supported. I'm already feeling like I have help. Advocates, collaborative. I fucking love co-teaching with people where we have complementary things and there's no like power struggle dynamic. I've been in those things before. But like where we're really trying to deliver something equally together. Oh, I love that. So collaboration, um, co-creative. My investment has continuous returns. I like to feel soft and sweet and also powerful, sensual, sexy, and comfortable. Hmm? Yeah. So this is what happened when I was writing that I'm coming back to now. When I wrote down, so soft and sweet was easy for me to go to because I feel that way right now. Like I've felt that way since I woke up. I feel really soft. I feel sweet. I feel like maybe in my heart space, but like just kind of like fuzzy and like everything's good. But when I wrote down powerful, it's funny because I don't even know if this has as much truth now as it did when I wrote it, but it's there, it's true, but I don't feel it as strongly as when I first wrote it down. So that's another reason it's good to write stuff down because it gets it out of the brain into the world. You can be like, is this true? Have I just been living this out like it's true all this time and it's not true? Okay, so what I wrote, so I wrote powerful, and then I was like, I feel, and then I wrote this in my action part of my pyramid. I feel powerful when I do things in secret. Now, my moon is in Leo, but in the house, the eighth house, which is naturally ruled by Scorpio. My Uranus, which is the planet of liberation, is in Scorpio in the 12th house, which is naturally ruled by Pisces. So I have these like kind of potent places in my chart, like Pisces and Scorpio are houses where things will hide. Um, or the eighth house and the 12th house are places where things will hide. And so I have these kind of potent parts of my chart that are related to like things being secret and things being hidden. And when I actually notice myself wanting to hide something, I usually come out and then just tell somebody about it because I don't want to feed that thing that I'm talking about that's like keeping things in the dark and they have more power. So it's not like that totally, but it's more like not everybody gets to have access to what I'm doing or what's changing or and that feels really powerful. So, some of the negative ways that has shown up, which I don't think I realized right away, but the negative ways that has shown up, or some of them are smoking and drinking and like overeating. Doing those in secret, doing those when nobody's looking. So maybe it's more like when nobody's looking, gives me a sense of power. And I would say, I mean, I've, been saying this whole time, but like, I was told my whole first 18 years of my life, those are the worst possible things you can do as a human. If you are a smoker, you do not deserve to be here. If you are doing things to excess, you are a waste of space. Seriously, those are the messages I grew up with. And I did all those things, and I did them without eyes on me. And they brought along with them. This is why these things can be so complex because they have all these things. Like I quit smoking a couple years ago. Um, but there's like so much surrounding it. And um they have a chemical thing that they do to the brain. They bring comfort, they bring, satisfaction, and then throw in there that they bring a sense of power. And in that particular case, like a sense of power of like independence and I'm like I'm verbalizing something that's like not very verbal. It's still pretty unconscious, even though I'm talking about it. They, it's like my ability to be not who my parents are and also not who my parents say I am. I think that's the one because that's the one I feel when I say it. Like they say, and whenever they saw these things show up in me, they didn't call me those things. They didn't say I didn't deserve to be here or that I'm waste of space or whatever. I heard them say those things about other people, and there's no reason that they wouldn't also apply to me, but they didn't say them directly to me. But they told, indirectly, they told me, if I do this, this is who I am. And by doing those things, I said, no, no, that's not who I am. You can't fucking tell me who I am. And I remember talking about this, or actually having a session about this with many, many years ago, specific to eating, I think, with one of my practitioners, teachers. And he was like, that's really passive aggressive. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I guess. And actually, now that I say that out loud, I'm giving myself another homework assignment, which is if I decided to not be passive aggressive and I were just direct, clear, and honest, what would I say to my parents about, I mean, yes, these like substances, but also about who I am, because that's really what it is. Who would I tell them I am? So that'll be our next video. And again, I feel emotion when I say that, so that's why I know I'm touching something that's relevant, that has some relevance. Okay, so doing things in secret helps me feel powerful. So the ways that has shown up or could show up in a positive way is like I remember I was 19. I had started seeing some guy. It was still a bit situationshipy. And then we stopped seeing each other for 6 months. And in that time, I just like my um switch flipped and I was like, I started prepping food. This is before food prep was a thing. Like this was 27 years ago. Um, I started prepping food and I was like eating on a particular way. And then I was like doing these workouts in my home and they were all like in my house. Like this is part of why I love being alone, living alone, because I can create these like pockets for myself. And the pockets, again, they can be destructive sometimes and they can be very constructive sometimes. Um, but I was like working out and I was getting the magazines and I was, doing the weightlifting and I was going to the little apartment gym and I was doing the treadmill and my body really started to change and I was feeling really good until that fucker called me again and then that shifted everything again. But that's what and it was just like me and myself. And it doesn't totally mean I have to be alone, but it does mean like not, again, I think I said this, but not everybody gets to have access. Not everybody gets to experience what I'm doing and like see the growth. Like I'm in a little bit of a cocoon. Like sometimes it'll be strangers around me, but I still feel like I'm doing it alone, like intentionally, not in a negative way. Or or sometimes it will just be like in my house in my little pod or whatever. But it's where I know that I'm shifting and changing into something and it's a little secret. And that does help me feel powerful. But again, it has both sides. So that's something I want to explore a little more. And like I said, I will be creating this letter to my parents. I don't think it's something that I will send or say. They are very stubborn and opinionated, so I don't know that it would do any good, but I can at least like claim some shit for myself. And also orchestrate a little secret mm, adventure or mission that I can just let like a few special folks in on, go ghost for a little while and then come back. Oh man. So, the action pyramid, I just want to say one more thing. This can be simple. Like, I know there's a lot going on here. Um, this is not like, okay, this is not like a to-do list in the classic sense where you're like, all right, I did that, I did that, I did that. I actually would like to bring up one more thing. I once had my manifestation blueprint, Akashic record manifestation blueprint read. And what I found most interesting was more like, yes, it was interesting to hear about myself, but it was based on 7 different spectrums. And it was really interesting to hear what those spectrums were and how people manifest on them. So I'm going to tell you one of the spectrums, and this is a question you get to ask yourself. So one of the spectrums is manifest by being consistent. So doing like a couple of things over and over and over and over again. And then, and what will often happen is when you do that, that energy builds up, like keeps building, keeps building, keeps building. And usually there's some kind of rupture that happens, often within yourself. Sometimes it could be external. And then if you keep going, then that's when all the energy starts to come in. So that's one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum is you do a little bit in a lot of different directions, and then your manifestation comes in. So the way that I heard this described, I'm the first kind. The second kind, one of my friends told me because she was this, is like you're going to pick 10 different areas of your life and do five things in each area, which seems like a lot. I mean, that's 50 things, but you're just going to do it once. You don't have to keep going. So that is the other side of that spectrum. So the question to you is, based on your experience, based on your life, and what your life has shown you up until now, which thing, or it could be somewhere in between, feels like what works for you? Do you tend to have things come in after you've done them over and over and over and over and over again? Or can you usually just kind of like put out a bunch of things and then stuff will start flowing back pretty quickly? So that's a question for you. Um, in this reading, I was told I was the first one, and I actually don't know if I agree with that. I'm gonna check it out. But if you feel like you're probably more the second one, then you could actually use this like a checklist. Like, okay, I'm gonna do each thing on this list over the next few weeks or whatever. Um, and if you are naturally more of a try a couple things person, or if you notice that's usually how your manifestations come in, just pick like one thing that you intend to do until you start to get feedback. So that could look like pitch myself on podcasts. So I'm just going to pick a podcast, two a week, and I'm going to pitch myself to them. I'm not giving myself that assignment. I'm going to do my assignment. I'm going to check this out afterward. Just giving an example. Um, two a week until you start to get some, some feedback and some return. So it could look like different things, but I'm going to go back to 80 to 90% of your time, energy, and money, if you want this vision, should start looking like this. And for now, it's really great that you have all this resource that you're already doing. And as you keep taking action, you're going to notice some of this resource is more supportive of your vision and some is less. And then you start to get changing it. Some of the actions that you're taking, you're going to notice are more in support of your vision and some are less. And you're going to be changing it. How you want to feel, like you're going to find more and more things that are like, no, this is how I want to be feeling. And some of the other things are going to fall away or become just less of a focus. So you're going to change it. But when you find yourself, and this is, I mean, I'm telling myself this as well because I just did this pyramid for the purpose of doing this pyramid, for the purpose of getting into the action. When you find yourself like thinking about your vision or intention, trying to make a decision, figuring out how you feel in this moment, or why do you feel like shit, or why are you so angry at this, or da 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 da, check out your pyramid. What would support you right now? What would help you get to how you want to feel right now? Have you done any of these actions yet? Is now the moment? What's like the easiest one? Or if you're feeling brave that day, what's your nervous action? What's your inspired action? What can you do that's going to stretch you? And if you do have a vision and intention, like keep meditating on that, keep tuning into that. So it's not to be overwhelming because it does look like a lot of stuff, but it's really just a guidepost. It's like, hey, dude, this is the way. And when you start to come up against your saboteur, That's when you can use part two in this journal, which is what I've been doing most of this time. So I was doing part two to kind of lay the groundwork to get myself ready for action. That's part of it. But also those emotions and then also the saboteur itself, which I'll speak about in another video. Um, when you start taking action, that's what you're going to start coming up against. So tools are in here to help you move through. So when you are like, I don't want to fucking do anything on my list, I hate everybody, I can't stand this, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get the life that I picture, not ever, nobody loves me. That's just what's in between you and your desire. It's not true, but you have the tools to take care of yourself in that experience. I like that I'm putting my feet to the fire and we're gonna we're gonna get somewhere. It's woo, calling myself forward, y'all.